Your direction. And make sure I can get all me in here. How are y'all feeling today? Yay! Lou's in Zen mode. Don't be jealous, Jack. She's trying to get away from you. Anything biting anybody today? Hips, knees, shoulders, hip,
Okay.
back. Okay. Anything else? Knees. Okay. Okay. Well, how about we start off on our backs today? I'm gonna turn my mat over here. Go and lay down on your back, and we'll bend the knees. You can close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. Try to allow your breathing to come from lower in your belly. Keep those shoulders down from the ears. Just take those palms, place them on the ground next to your mat, and allow the knees to rock a little side to side. Try to soften through that low back. Okay, return the knees to the center. We're going to inhale, hug the knees up to the chest, and wrap your arms around. Big breath in, exhale, send those legs out nice and long. Stretch your hands up overhead and spread the fingers. Spread your toes. Okay, we're going to bring one knee up to the chest. Just grab hold with your arms. So pull up to the same side shoulder. You can allow that knee to float further out to the side if you need to open up through the inner part of the thigh. Then big breath in, we're going to exhale, cross the knee over to the opposite side of the body and the opposite side of the mat. So you can just allow that knee to roll over. Keep your chest open to the ceiling. So your knee will stretch over toward the floor. You can pull with that opposite hand if you need to. Couple more breaths. Okay, then we're going to inhale. Let's bring that knee back to the center. Send it down underneath you. We're going to pull the opposite knee up toward the chest. And same thing here. You can allow your knee to fall off to the side to open up in the inner thigh if you need. More breaths. You're going to inhale, draw that knee through the center, drop it off to the other side. Hold for a few breaths. You can allow your hand to rest on the outside of your knee to enhance that stretch if you need it. Keeping the chest open to the ceiling, those hips are turned slightly. One more breath in. On the exhale, you can bring that knee back to the center. Send your leg out long. Let's flip over onto our belly. So flipping over onto your belly. You don't have to turn like I did unless you just want to. Just turn so that you don't have to see my feet. Elbows down. And you're going to lift through the chest slightly. Tuck your chin back. Take a few breaths. And keep those shoulders relaxed. And we're going to push up off the floor. You can bring your knees up a little bit, send them out wide. Bring the big toes together and stretch back into extended child's pose. Reaching those hands forward, trying to relax through your chest and your forehead and chin. Breathe through that belly. One more breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to come up out of that shape. We're going to flop on back into a cross-legged position. I'm just taking a second to move through the neck so you can move your head up and down, shaking your head yes. And then turning the head left to right. Chin going shoulder to shoulder. And then switching ear shoulder to shoulder, so head side to side. Okay, we're going to take a hand, plant it beside us. Other hand's going to come up overhead and lean over. And we're going to inhale, plant the hand beside us. Other hand up and over. Inhale, plant that hand down. Exhale, up and over. Again, big breath in. Exhale that hand down. And reaching up and over. come up out of that shape. We're gonna go forward onto hands and knees. So plant those hands under each shoulder, knees under the hips. We're gonna pull the shoulders down from the ears, just going one step at a time through the bird dog, so moving one limb at a time. Big breath in, we're gonna exhale and send the leg back. And just sending that leg out nice and straight, trying to keep that pressure up out of the floor. Through the hands. Keep your belly nice and strong. Inhale, we're gonna lower that leg down. On the next exhale, send the other leg back. So pushing the body away from the floor. Make your lower belly nice and strong. Again, inhale, lower that leg down. On the next exhale, we're gonna lift one arm straight out overhead. So try to stay strong with your upper body, push away from the floor. Make sure you still have a hips width of space between your knees. Inhale, lower that arm down. On the next exhale, send the other arm up. Take a few breaths. Okay, we're going to lower that hand down. Okay, so relax through the shoulders for a second. If you need to wiggle a little bit, you can. Relax the wrists. We're going to do the full deal this time, so we'll do one arm and the opposite leg. So remember, we're trying to keep that belly nice and strong, so don't start to sag or let your hips fall down. Instead, pull that belly up a little bit, tuck your tailbone, keep your abs nice and strong. Pull the shoulders down from the ears, big breath in. We're going to exhale, send the leg out, and once you're stable, reach out with the opposite arm. We're going to inhale, pull that down. On the next exhale, send out the other leg. Once you're stable, reach with the opposite arm. And then slowly lower that arm toward the floor. Let's send the knees out nice and wide, big toes together, and sit back in child's pose. Few more breaths, relax through that lower back. Let's give us two more deep breaths. And then we're going to meet in downward facing dog. So you can spread these hands a little, pull the knees in. We're going to curl the toes under and send the hips up and back, away from the wrists, sinking those heels down. Try to relax through the calves. Those hips up nice and high. One more breath in. On the exhale, we're going to pull a leg forward. So place it a little bit closer up towards your hands. You can drop your back knee down on the mat. We're going to come up off of the wrists for a second here. So push up and out of that shape. Okay, so make sure you have at least a hip's width of space between your feet so you don't topple over. We're going to start with curling the hips under. So lift that chest up tall, curl those hips under, take a few breaths. Pushing strongly through both feet, so through your lower leg and the bottom of the front foot. We're going to place a hand on the inside of our front thigh and twist off to the side, still keeping those hips tucked so that stretch might go a little higher into the waist. Then we're going to take that backside arm, stretch it up and over, stay over and stretch. Breathing in nice and deep, trying to expand the rib cage off to the side as you inhale. So we're going to inhale, let's release that shape. Take that front leg, walk it over to the same side of the mat, and we're going to drop into a pigeon. That's like a weird dancer. Leave that same leg in front. Other leg is in the back. Yep, and if you can straighten up the back leg, go ahead. If you can't, just keep it bent, whichever works for you. We're going to just sit here and breathe for a sec, so sink those hips down. Keeping that chest up tall. Try and turn as much as you can toward that front leg. So just allowing the shape we're already in to stretch through the hips. Big breath in. When you're ready, we're going to exhale. Start to fold it forward, taking that belly button over the inside of your front thigh. Stopping where you need to. Just allowing that front hip to stretch. More breaths. Take your time. When you're ready, we're going to inhale and push up and away. We're going to meet in downward facing dog again. You're going to be sending that leg back. We're going to send the heels down. Lift your hips up toward the ceiling. Take a few breaths. Allow for a big stretch on the backside. And when you're ready, we're going to move one leg forward. Drop the back knee down. Do the same thing. We're going to come up off of the mat. Remember, we've got one foot on one side of the mat, back knee on the other side of the mat, and we're going to start with just tucking those hips. So right from where you are, you can tuck those hips under. Go ahead and start stretching through those hip flexors. And we're going to put the front side arm on the inside of your front knee and start to twist. Still keeping those hips tucked. And then we'll take that backside arm and stretch it up and over and allow that stretch to go deeper into the waist. So Make sure you're pushing strongly through your front and back leg. Relax that arm down. Let's take that front foot, move it across to the same side as your back knee. We're going to flop down, and we'll end up in a pigeon pose. So if you're kind of working your way around it, you want to have the same leg in front by the time you get down on the floor. Back leg can either be bent into a 90-90, or you can straighten it up. Remember, we're just hanging out in this shape first. So keep that chest up nice and high. Relax through those hips. And as you feel comfortable, you can start to walk the hands forward and you'll stretch down over that front thigh. Just kind of pausing wherever you need to. Keep that breathing steady. And you're going to take your time moving out of this shape. If you want to stay here longer, go ahead. We're going to meet in downward dog one more time. So these hands are going to go down. Feet are going to go back. Stretching those heels down toward the floor. And then when you're ready, we're going to walk both feet forward. Walk your hands back if you need to. End up in just a nice, easy forward fold. You can keep those knees bent. And if this position doesn't feel right, go ahead and lift yourself up where you're resting your hands on the top of your knees. Press those knees forward, hips forward. We're going to swing those hands out nice and wide as you're coming up. So big, big circle up. Stretching those hands back. Turn off to the side and breathe in. Big exhale, circling those arms around. Big and open through the chest. Again, we're going to inhale. Stretching those arms back as far as they'll go. Breathe in as you exhale, turning off to the side. Big open circle. Again, breathing in. Stretch those hands up and back. On the exhale, we're going to send the hips back, soften the knees, stretch the fingertips toward the floor. Two more breaths. And then you'll bend the knees until your fingertips can touch the floor. Go ahead and lay back down on your back. Give yourself some space. We're going to bend at the knees, place the feet flat on the mat like we did at the beginning. Just make sure you have like at least a hip's width of space between your feet. And they should be just outside the reach of your fingertips. We're going to bend at the elbows, push your upper arms into the floor. Big breath in and exhale, push through both feet and hover those hips. So try to tuck your hips under. Squeezing those glutes nice and tight. Keep strong pressure into the floor. You're going to take a big breath in, and on the exhale, you're going to very slowly start at the upper part of your back and place each vertebrae down onto the floor. So kind of snaking your back all the way down onto the floor again, stretching it out as you go until you finally get your hips down on the mat. You can relax your glutes. From here, you can either hang out in this shape with your knees bent, or you can send them out straight underneath you. We're going to close our eyes for our last few minutes. So find a position that is most comfortable for you. You can lay here for one more minute if you would like. And then as you're done for today, start wiggling around and sit on up. How y'all feeling?
My back feels better.
Good. Okay. You look okay? All right. Y'all did awesome.